Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today is the day 22 for our Fortigate Firewall. So in this video, we are going to understand how we are going to perform high availability in Fortigate Firewall. So in this video, we are going to understand what is high availability, what are the modes that is available in high availability for Fortigate Firewall, how exactly it works, and what are the HA interface, how exactly that works, okay, and how to configure and how to verify whether the HA has been configured correctly and what are the parameters that we need to configure, okay. And also we'll do a practical explanation with our application test in our lab with HA. We'll try to make the one firewall down and we'll test the application how exactly it is working. So it'll be interesting, guys, and also I'll recommend you to please watch this till the end so that you can understand the concept, configuration and troubleshooting as well, okay. So please watch this video till then, and also I'll request you to please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that you never miss a video from me. So without any further delay, let's get started. So friends, first of all, we'll understand what is high availability with the help of this diagram, okay. Now let's understand the meaning of it. High availability. So the chances of availability is higher, right? How we can make that, okay. So for nowadays, dependent on the network is more. So we have to make or we have to design the network in such a way so that the network should be available always, most of the time, right? So the other term that if you want to understand that we have redundancy, we have a backup, and we are having other name like clustering and all those things, okay. So now let's understand with this scenario how exactly the high availability works, okay. So let's say I am just removing this firewall for now. You just don't see that particular firewall in your scenario, okay. So from the PC, let's take yellow. From the PC, if somebody is initiating the connection and they wanted to reach internet for some work, okay. So for an example, if due to some reason, if this firewall goes down, okay, now what will happen to these users? They will not be able to reach internet. They'll not be able to do their work. So what is happening? There is a issue with the production. There is an issue with the productivity of that particular organization. So to compensate that or to make that particular network always available, what we are going to do is we are going to have another backup of that particular device, so that in some cases if this device goes down, okay, the other device will take care of this, right? So if this is going down for some reason, maybe there can be a hardware failure, there can be a software failure, and there are other reasons as well. So let's say where I'm connected to a switch. Now this port has went down or some reason, or this port is down, or this internet or this link is down somehow. So in that case, we will be having some kind of backup so that we can send that particular interface or to send that particular traffic to the internet, okay. I'm not going into very detail, or I'm not taking all the condition right now because it's a beginning. So that is the reason I'm just telling you a very simple example so that you can understand the concept. Then we can go with redundant ISP link or redundant link, or how to monitor the link. All those things we are going to understand in further videos. For now, you just understand a very simple scenario wherein once if your device goes down, the other or the backup will take over that particularly. Okay, now we'll understand what are the modes that we can configure the Fortigate firewall in high availability. Okay, so friends, now we'll understand what are the modes that is there for high availability in Fortigate firewall. Okay, with the help of these two diagrams, we'll try to understand. Okay, one is called as active and passive. Okay, another called as active basically. Okay, now what does an active passive means over here, and what is active means over here, we'll try to understand in a detailed manner. Okay, so active and passive, as the name suggests, active device will be forwarding your traffic. Okay, and the passive will be on the standby. He'll not do anything, he'll not forward any traffic, but he'll be keep monitoring it, whether the device is up or not. Once the device goes down, he'll take over all the connection and start forwarding the traffic towards the destination. Okay, so active device will be doing the forwarding, and passive will be actively monitoring the active device. Once it goes down or when it is not there in the network, he'll take over, he'll become active, and he'll take over the traffic, all the traffic, and start forwarding the traffic towards the destination. Now what will happen in case of active? Okay, so now active, both the device will be actively forwarding the traffic. Okay, now why we are basically, what is the need of it? Active. Now in active we can do lot more things as well, like we can do some kind of load balancing as well. Okay, and also if the traffic is going this way, he can come like this way as well. Okay, asymmetric as well. So what happens when we configure active and what we configure at active passive? What is where we can do that basic configuration or basic deployment? Okay, so where you want to utilize both the devices, the resources of both the devices, in that case you will be going for active. But where you only want to use only one device and you want to make the other device as passive, then you just wanted to use only one device for forwarding your traffic. If something goes wrong, the second will take over. In that case, you will be going for active and passive. Okay, now active designs are little complex. Basically, in case of active design, they are little complex. Okay, so if you have planned the layer 2, the layer 3, the firewall, the load balancer, everything, in that case I will recommend you go for active. But in normal scenarios, like in most of the common scenarios, I can recommend you go for active and passive. Okay, now we'll understand how this basically works. What are the process? Okay, we will try to understand, and this lab is only focuses on active passive. In the upcoming lab, we'll try to do active, but for now we'll do it active and passive. Okay, so we'll understand active passive, how exactly it works, what are the process, and the other things as well. So friends, now we'll understand how exactly it works and what are the HA interface. With the help of this diagram, we'll try to understand. Okay. So before we understand how exactly works, let's understand what is the eligibility criteria to become HA. Okay. So there should be two devices. Okay. And they should have a same software version, meaning that software code or whatever OS that you can think of. Okay, they have to have a same model. Okay, they'll be sharing a same kind of license, and there should be a free link which we will be using for HA, right? So now what is the reason of having a physical link for HA? Now there is a protocol which is FGCP, Fortigate Clustering Protocol. Okay, now this is the protocol who is responsible for syncing and heartbeat. Now we'll understand what is syncing, what is heartbeat. So heartbeat is just to check whether the other device is alive or not, meaning that let's say it's active and this is passive. So passive will be sending a heartbeat messages to the device, the active device, whether you are alive or not. And at the same time, he will be syncing the session. Syncing the session means if a user is going through this firewall towards the destination, that particular TCP sessions will be get copied, so that in case of if it gets fail, at least the other device will have that particular session reserved or preserved, so that it can allow the traffic, or maybe the sessions will not be removed or the connection will not be closed. So that is the reason the syncing will be there. You have to have you have to enable that particular option. Okay. And one more thing that happens, what exactly that is, whenever you do any configuration in active device, that configuration will get replicated or get synced with the standby. Okay, so whenever you do any changes, you have to do in the active one. You don't need to do it in the standby. So whoever is active that moment, you have to configure that particular device, or you have to make the configuration in that particular device. Okay, now to make our device active, there should be some kind of configuration. Okay, we'll talk about priority now. Actually, I'll be covering other parts of the configuration when we do the lab, but right now I'll talk about priority. Okay, so what happens is, when you configure a priority, basically you are forcing the device to be active. So let's say you have device 1 and you have device 2. Okay, now you want the device 1 to be active, 2 to be passive. Okay, now what happens is, when you have a priority value, the higher the priority value, meaning that let's say I have a value of 120 and I have a value of 100, a priority value. I'm just talking about the priority value. So the higher the priority value, the chances or that particular device will become active, and the lower the priority is, that device will become passive. Okay, so priority will play a very important role over here. So you have to configure the priority as per the requirement, or if you want that particular device to be active, you have to make the priority higher. Okay, now the other part is, if you want the device, or if I talk about preemption, if you have heard about preemption in Cisco ASA or any other Cisco devices. So preemption, that if this device is active and it got rebooted and you want again to be active, the device has to be active, you have to go for, you have to configure failover override. Okay, so in that particular override, what exactly happens is, if you want to make this device as active, no matter whenever he comes back to into the network, let's say a reboot happens or something else happens, now you want the firewall 1 always to be active, then after reboot, after the negotiation, again the device 1 will be active basically. Okay, so let's go into the configuration section and I'll do the configuration in the lab and we'll test some of the application and I'll show you how to do the HA configuration. So let's get into the lab now. So guys, one more thing before we get into the lab, I just wanted to let you know one more thing over here, and that will be asked in the interview so many times. Okay, how exactly the failover happens. Okay, so for an example, if this is device 1 and this is device 2, okay, if this device goes down, okay, whatever IP address and whatever the gateway for the user is there with that active device, it basically goes to the standby device, like who will become the active, and that particular IP address goes here. Okay, and he'll start advertising the ARP saying that this is my IP address and this is my ARP address, something like this. So they'll start the, whenever the traffic comes to the switch start forwarding from that particular port, not from this port. Okay, so this is how the GRP will be done by the standby device to advertise himself that I am active now and you need to send me the traffic to the switch, and switch start forwards that particular forwards the traffic from that same ports. Okay, so guys, let's hit the lab and we'll configure and verify how exactly we configure and verify whether HA is configured or not, and we'll test with the application. Okay, so let's move on to the lab. Okay, I have created a very simple lab that you can understand by seeing this. Okay, so this will be my device 1, this will be my device 2. We have a LAN over here that you can see. This port 2 is LAN, okay, and port 3 is WAN, where the internet is terminated. Okay, and port 1 is basically dedicated for our management, so that we will be able to log into the Fortigate and we'll do a configuration. Okay, and the port 4 is only dedicated for HA. So I'm just using only one link right now. Maybe in upcoming videos, if you guys want, you can comment with 2 ports what will be happening. I will try to create another video with 2 ports. Okay, so let's get into the console of Fortigate and we'll show you how to configure it basically. Okay, so guys, this is our dashboard for Fortigate Firewall. Okay, so let's configure the LAN and WAN quickly. So we'll go to network and interface. Now we'll go to the port 1. Port 1 is already in management, so it is already configured. We'll go to port 2. Okay, so port 2 is dedicated for LAN. So let's configure an IP address. So 192.168.20.1/24. Okay, and we'll click OK, and we'll go to port 3. As we have to make it as DSCP, so we are just making a DSCP. And port 4 we are going to configure later because we are going to use it for HA. Same goes with this interface as well. So port, we are going to define 192.168.20.2/24. Okay, and same goes with port 3 as well. So DSCP. Okay, So we'll see whether we have got the IP address. We have already got the IP address. Okay. So when you want to go to this CLI and try to check, so get router information, routing table, all. So as you can see, we have a default route towards this internet, this port 3. We'll try to execute, we'll try to reach internet basically. So 8.8.8.8 and we are having internet. Okay. So now we'll create a simple policy now. Okay. So we are creating on Fortigate 1. So let's create that. So this is for internet traffic. Okay. So the traffic will be coming from port 2. It will come from port 2 and it will go to port 3, right? So port 3. So this is port 3 basically, and we are going to source as all, destination as all, okay, service as all, and we are doing the NAT with the outgoing interface. Basically it's a PAT, all session. We want to see the logs and we are basically done. Okay. Now our target is to make Fortigate 1 as active and Fortigate 2 as passive. Okay, this is our requirement. So we'll go to system and high availability. Okay, right now whenever you see or whoever, like if you go to other device as well, okay, and if you go to HA, you will be seeing it is configured in a standalone mode. So you have to select what mode that you want to run. So right now we are going to run active passive. So this is, so if you see, the highest priority is more likely to become HA primary. So we'll make it as, let's say 150. Okay. Now here you have to type a group name. So we can type anything. So I'll just put it as lab. Okay. Change the password. I'll do it as Cisco. Okay. Now here, if you are enabling this, basically the sessions will be copied from one Fortigate firewall to another Fortigate firewall. Okay. And here, what are the ports that you want to monitor? So why we need to monitor these ports? Let's say this port goes down. What you are going to do? Okay. So device is fine, but your ports are down. So in that case, you have to monitor the port as well, right? So for an example, if this port is down and you are sending the traffic to the Fortigate firewall, the link is down, he'll not be able to forward further. And your traffic will start dropping here, right? So instead of we have to monitor the devices as well as we have to monitor the link as well. Okay, so we are going to monitor the LAN and WAN link. Okay, so we'll just monitor port number 2 and port number 3. Okay, now this is the heartbeat interface, meaning that this is the HA interface that we need to define. So port number 4 is dedicated for in HA, so we are defining it. Okay, and management interface reservation and unicast heartbeat, I'll cover it later, like upcoming video, not now. We'll make it very simple, so I'm not covering that particularly right now. So we'll click OK. Now we'll go here and we'll do the same configuration as well. We have made it 150, that we want that particular device has to be higher. So we'll make it 128. There's no change. And what was that particular group name? It was lab. So lab. Okay. What was the password? It was there. It was basically Cisco, right? So I'll just type Cisco. Okay. same session pickup, and we'll monitor both the links. Okay, and port number 4. Now once I click on OK, and once the sync happens, what happens is like you will not be having any access to Fortigate 2 device or the passive device. You will having access to only active device. Okay, so what I am going to do is I'll change the right now. I'll just cancel this and I'll configure the host name. Okay, so let's configure the host name as Fortigate 1 or Fortigate 2. Okay, apply this and I'll go here. I'll go to status and I'm going to change to 1. Fine. So that I can recognize that to which device I am logged in right now. Okay. So this is Fortigate 2. Now we'll go to HA and we'll configure as active passive lab, change the password as Cisco, and session pickup will 2, 2 and 3, and then we are going to 4. Okay, now we'll start the negotiation. As we can see that it has already recognized it. Okay, right now it is not sync is in progress. Let's capture this particular traffic. So we'll capture this port number 4 and we'll see what kind of traffic that is getting communicated from this to this, right? So we'll try to open Wireshark. Okay. So as you can see, there are so many protocols. So if you try to search this protocol, okay, this protocol, basically the protocol itself it's basically a Ethernet type which used by Fortigate to negotiate during the HA negotiation or heartbeat and all. Okay, so apart from that, we are not seeing, we are just seeing this protocol, and if you try to search with this protocol, you will be able to find it out. Okay, right now it's the operation mode is NAT. The protocol type will be different. When we configure as a transparent, the protocol type will be little different on that part. Okay, so let's refresh this. It takes little bit of time. Okay, so I'm just before stopping this, let me introduce something. Okay, now once you see this I meaning that I am monitoring, or this interfaces are basically getting monitored. And this, if you see this heartbeat meaning that this is basically heartbeat where the HA link is there. Okay, so by seeing these icons, you will be able to understand which interface are getting monitored in HA and which interface is being used as a HA interfaces. Okay, so I'm just stopping this video right now. Let's the sync happen and then I'll start the video again. So friends, now we can see that both the devices are basically synchronized, and the higher the priority, that device has become primary and other is secondary, right? So this is how, and also we can see the session count, the up timing and all those things, right? So once we refresh, but we will not be having access to the Fortigate 2. We will not be having access. We will be having access to Fortigate 1. Okay, so this is how we are going to configure the Fortigate firewall for high availability. Let's go into the test PC and we'll try to test some of the applications. okay, and we'll make the primary device down and we'll see how it is going. Okay, so guys, what we are going to do is we'll test whether this PC is reachable to the internet or not. So I have already set it up the default gateway and that IP addresses. So let's check whether it's yeah, it's reachable now. That we can check that. So what we are going to perform is like we will make the FortiGate one as down, okay, and we'll see how fast the traffic gets switched and it starts forwarding to internet. Okay, so let's log into the test machine and we'll start a ping 8.8.8.8 minus T and we are going to stop this. So let's go into this, and now we can see only one timeout happened and the traffic started forwarding to another firewall. Okay, now once we log into the firewall, okay, as you can see, if you see here, now we are into FortiGate 2. So the switch has happened as fast as possible that we only missed out only one ICMP traffic, right? And after that start pinging it. As you can see over here as well, the FortiGate 2 is working and it is live, and that you can see only one device in the network right now. Okay. So guys, this is what I wanted to cover in my video, or in this video you can say. Okay. If you like this video or if you have got to know something new, please hit the like button. If you have come across some kind of issues related to HA, please, or if you have any suggestion for that, you can also put it in the comment box, or else you can send me a message on Facebook, Instagram, or you can also send me an email. Whatever possible for you, you can do that. I want to say thank you to all of you for supporting my channel, seeing my video, and also I wanted to thank you that you have watched this video till the end. Thank you so much for watching this. I'll see you in the next. Thank you.